Okay, class, let's finish up number 45, and then we're going to do 57, I'm sorry. So number 45, we have here, we asked to find evaluate the composite function of the composition of f and g as a function of 0. Okay, so again, this value can be rewritten as this. Okay, and then whatever our outcome is, we're going to substitute that x value for 0 and then evaluate that particular composition. Okay, so our f in this case is nothing more than what we have here. Same thing. Okay, but let's do it again. So our f in this case is going to be, just back up here, just do this right here. It's going to be 3 into 2 over x plus 1, right, plus 1 equals 6 over x plus 1, and that's plus 1, right? So now f of 0 is going to be 6 over 0 plus 1 plus 1. 6 plus 1, the answer is going to be 7. Okay? Okay, let's look at number 57. So we have to look at this graph, really, to help us find these various values. Okay, so for number 57, right, I'm looking at, when you look at the composition of f and g of 1, so again, this is going to be f of g of x, right? That's what that typically means, of 1, right? We can rewrite it that way. So now I would say f of g of 1, right? So what is this value? So my g of 1, this is my g graph, this is my f graph. And this is my input, right, which is my x. So that's going to be 1. And then I go towards the g graph, I go up, my y value is 2. Okay, so that's going to give me f of 2. Now what is f of 2 on the f graph? Again, this is my input. Okay, this is my input. Okay, so f of 2, so I'm at 2. If I come all the way down, I'm going to get a y value of 4 on the f graph, equals 4. So 4 is my answer. Okay, now let me do this so we can have a clear screen. So let me come on to B. This was A. So my B says I want G composition of G and F. Okay, and now that's going to be -1, right? I'm sorry, it's going to be -1. Again, it's going to be G of f of x, right, equals G. Let me bring this down a little bit so it won't feel cramped up here. Okay, and this is going to be G of f of -1, right? So my f is -1. I'm right here. I'll come down. My y value is going to be -1. It's going to be G of -1. Well, when I look at the G graph, I'm at -1, and that's the y value is going to be 0. Okay, and that's my answer here. Okay, now C, this is my C here. Okay, so that's going to be G, and that's going to be of 0. So it's going to be g of x 0 equals g, and that's going to be g of 0. And then what's going to be g of 0? I'm looking for this right here, inner part. G of 0. This is my g graph right here. At 0, I come over to the g graph, that's going to be 1. G of 1. Now, when I'm at g of 1, when I'm here, what's going to be my, what's going to be at 1, what's going to be g of 1, I'm sorry, this is g of 1 here on the x-axis. Okay, just x-axis g of 1, if I go up, 2 will be my value right here, equals 2, and that's my answer. Okay, now let's go to D, and D is going to be what? It's going to be composite of f and f, and as a function of 1. So that's going to be f of x of 1. You can rewrite that as f of 1. Okay, so now looking at this one, f of 1, again, I'm looking for my value here. I'm looking for my, on the x value is 1, and I come down to the f graph, and I go over, that's my y value, which is negative 1, right? So equals f of negative 1. Well, when I come down to negative 1 on the x graph, okay, come to negative 1 on my x-axis, I'm sorry, and I come down to my f graph, and I go over, and that's also going to be negative 1, and that's going to be my answer here. Okay, and then I have E, which is this right here, and that's going to be the composite of F, G, F. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to do F of G, F of O. Okay, so I'm going to do this first. Do this composite first, right? And I'm going to get O, right? So it's going to be F of G of O. When you look at your graph, F of 0, I'm at 0 here, right? And it's going to be, the y component is going to be 0, okay? So that's how you get the 0 here, okay? Now you want to ask yourself, what is going to be that that g of O, right? So typically at my g graph at 0, you're going to get another 0, right? So now you're going to be left with, you're going to be left with, you're going to be, it's 1, at 0 is going to be 1, okay? So that equals f of 1. And then, again, you come down at 1, right? You come down to the f graph and go over, and that's my y value, which equals negative 1. And this is my answer. Okay? And then f, the last part of f is going to be g, f, okay? And that's going to be 0. I'm just going to write this out. Okay? It's going to be g, f, g of 0, okay, equals g, f of 1. Okay? And then when you look at your graph again, you see your f of 1. You see your f of 1. graph again. I go over, I get a negative 1. Okay, so that gives me g of negative 1. So now my x value for the g graph, I'm looking for a negative 1, right? And now the y corresponding to y value is going to be 0. That's why this equals 0. And this is my answer here. Okay, I hope this helps. You just have to take your time with this. And again, you just want to set it up right. Okay, in the sense that your f of x, in this case right here, you want to now substitute that for negative 1. Okay, then you want to go to your graph, and this right now is going to be your x value input. So when you go to your graph at negative 1, you want to come down to the f graph. When you come down, when you hit it, go over to the y-axis. That gives you the y input, which is going to be negative 1. Now it's going to be g of negative 1. Now you go to your g graph, okay? And then, again, this is your x value right here. I'm at negative 1. And you want to ask yourself, what's going to be the y value? Well, the only y value is going to be 0 in this case, okay? So I hope this helps. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Bye-bye.